Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, John Donovan.
Hey, Marty Keller.
Welcome to the Intentional Living Podcast. John Donovan, Oceanside, California. Marty Keller here in Sacramento, California. This is a podcast that in which John and I examine the question of dealing with how to break patterns of behavior of things I say I don't want to do. I don't want to do that, and I end up doing it anyway. What is
Right.
it? What is it inside of me, and what's inside of all of us that creates these compulsions to either do things that our mind say don't do that, or in the reverse, fail to do things that our mind says we should do? There's a there's an energy inside all of us that is uh, causative, and what we do here in the Intentional Living
Mhm.
podcast is we examine that. We talk about practices to make something change or different, and so that's why we're here. We do this work in a group setting, and John and I both facilitate different meetings at different times, and we'll talk about that more toward the end of the podcast. But here's to put everybody on alert that you're welcome to come to a meeting. They're all on Zoom and learn about this process for yourself. We talk about it, but it's actually experiential. It's something that we do. For ourselves. John and I have both talked
Yeah.
in many of the previous podcasts about our own individual experience with the intentional living practice. Um, but it's really something that, in order for it to make sense for anybody watching, that's something that we do for ourselves. But we like to talk about it. We both have gotten a tremendous amount of growth and psychological, spiritual, emotional, physical growth and health out of doing this work. And so we'd like to share it with anybody else who might be interested in having the same experience for yourself. Um, any thoughts about that, John, before we go on to
Yeah,
our
I
topic?
was just, yes, I am able right now to have a conversation with somebody who has got a diametrically opposed view and stay in the conversation. It's like, and not take things personal or not use any kind of tactic to demean, diminish, ridicule, and just accept people where they're at, being able to express where I'm at, and have that conversation. Which before my recovery, that was well, not even in my realm of belief that that could happen actually, or that I could maintain it. That was a real thing, and that I could participate in it in a way that was healthy and um, autonomous. I could stay autonomous and have my beliefs and not have to have somebody else like believe the same way. And it works well in my relationships with my children because they'll say how they see it. And I'll go, yeah, I can understand how you see it. And if you're open to it, this is how I see it. And stay in connection, even though we disagree on a point, a relationship, an idea, and still know that we love each other. That's really amazing for me.
Well, what's interesting is when you say that is that's the opposite of the experience that most of us grew up with. The experience that we grew up with, and for those of you who might be new to this, we refer oftentimes to Adult Children of Alcoholics, ACA, which is a 12-step program that's related to what we do here to help those of us that grew up in a dysfunctional, emotionally dysfunctional household, which if you have an alcoholic or two alcoholic parents, almost inevitably that will be. Um, what we have is experienced, our experiences those as children in there is that we're not safe. It's dangerous. We can't trust these adults. They're not there for us. And that's the source of these compulsive behaviors that we talked about here at the top of the podcast. That if we don't have something intervene for us, some grace or some stumble or both,
Yep.
we'll just continue to replicate that for the rest of our lives. We'll continue to
Right.
do things that are emotionally harmful or emotionally stunted, and we'll attract people
Mhm.
into our lives that will support us in that. And in fact, that's one of the principles that we want to talk about today. I think right now we have a list of 14 principles. I'll put them up on the screen just as a quick reminder to our viewers of the what we call the accountability practice principles. And John and I have discussed the first three of these over the last 4 or 5 podcasts,
Yeah.
and and you can go find those on our Intentional Living YouTube channel. The first one that we talked about is I'm always getting what I want. Then we had a conversation about it's never about the other person. And then we talked about the issues, not the issue, and these things are all interrelated. And that brings us to the topic or the question of people treat me the way I want them to.
Yeah.
And it's ironic that this is up for us here today because in a recent meeting, we had a robust conversation about this. It still baffles some people, John. I don't know what your experience is in the groups that you facilitate, but it still baffles some of the people that I work with how this could work, that people treat me the way I want them to.
Yeah. Yeah. It is mind-boggling, and it's like it must have been one of the secrets that the mystic schools have been keeping from us all these thousands of years. This little tidbit of information that all we needed is get this information and everything will fall in place. Well, I have a tidbit of information about how this works,
Oh, I can't
and
wait to hear.
oh, good. In the meantime, as we're talking, go ahead and make me co-host in case I want to
I
bring up
will.
the. Thank you, I appreciate that. Board. I asked 3 questions before we get into people treat me exactly the way I want them to. I have 3 questions I ask people to set this up to like cue the unreasonableness of the situation or the absurdity of the statement, like people treat me exactly the way I want them to, when it's obvious to me that no, they're not. I ask 3 questions. First question is, and I tell them, I says, and I'm going to tell you why you answered the way you did, because I know how you're going to answer these. Maybe not all 3, but at least 1 or 2. The first question: have you ever hurt somebody you loved, regretted it, and then did it again, usually in the same way? And the second question: have you ever been in an argument with somebody and in the middle of the argument got real clear that you're on the wrong side of this argument and you found yourself continuing with your argument anyway? You wouldn't give it up. Okay. Third question: have you ever been in a situation where you knew what you're about to do, what you're about to say, you would regret, and you even heard a little voice, that little conscious voice that, don't do that, and you found that you couldn't or wouldn't stop that behavior? My answer to those questions were yes, yes, and yes. It's like, what the hell is going on? Okay, that's mind-boggling. Just to know that I do that. I asked those setting up a workshop at church one time. I asked those 3 questions from the pulpit when I was advertising my workshop, and all the people in that they were nodding as I would saying these questions. So I invited them to come to the workshop and find out some of that little tidbit of what am I missing thing. And the answer to why I do those things, or the answer that makes the statement true, people always treat me the way I want them to, is family of origin dysfunction, childhood trauma, unresolved complex post-traumatic stress in the subconscious that feeds information to your decision-making process, which is governed by brainstem, midbrain, and your cortex, your reasonable part of your brain, your limbic part of your brain, and that includes the brainstem and midbrain, about survival. So if in my childhood I was told I wasn't enough, and I grew up and everybody treated me like I was enough, it would be it would be against the belief I have inside that subconscious and the reticular activating system, mid limbic part of my brain, is a survival mechanism. And for me to survive, I need to maintain the body chemistry or the belief, the situation that it was in my childhood. I recreate it in real time for survival purposes. And this is all happening below my conscious level. Um, so the trauma, the unresolved complex post-traumatic stress, being told I wasn't worth or being insinuated, like somebody, I remember my dad asking me this question: "Why did you do that stupid thing?" It's like, how do you answer that question? I must be stupid, or I don't know, or and then if I don't know, that means I am stupid because I don't know. So it got that. I mean, so there's an element of I don't know, or I'm not. I don't have the rational ability. Then I grow up and I do stupid shit things. And I remember lying to this person one time, and I'm thinking in my head, why am I lying? What? There's no reason for me to lie. There's nothing I have to hide. There's a person not after me. Uh, and it was in my childhood. I was told that I wasn't enough. I was a burden. Um, that I was the cause of all the depression or whatever the feeling was in the house, the dysfunction. So I grew up. That childhood reality became my belief, and the belief was in my subconscious. So I would posture in a way where people would. This is one of my pet peeves. Pity would pity me. Oh, poor John. It's okay, John. It's okay. It's okay, John. Oh, stop. It's okay. I'll help you. It's like, no, I'm capable. It's like, okay. So to answer the statement or to examine the statement, people treat me just the way I want them to. If I see myself as incapable, then I act incapable now this is a key part of it, for survival. Now, as a child, as a 1 to 7, 7 to 12, for me to survive, I needed to be in good graces with my caretakers. I needed to comply. And actually, from 1 to 7, I was just soaking up the energy that was around me. So if there was self hate coming from my dad or my mom or inadequacy, I would soak that up. And it was in their language, the way they spoke, indicated that, like for my mother, she was inadequate or she acquiesced to my father's brutality. And my father was either drunk and raging or sitting. When he was sober, all he did was sit in his chair and watch TV. So those are the two energies I picked up about how to be a man. So when I grew up and got into a relationship, my model was my dad. So I was either in a conflict or I was numbed out. And then the woman would say, how come you can't, how come you can't you get into your feeling body? How do you feel?" And it was like, I had no answer. I had no, what do you mean, how do I feel? We get along good. What's the problem? We had a good time today. What are you talking about? And she was asking me, how do I feel? Or are you connected to me? And that's that abandonment thing that we brought up in pre-discussion of this, and she felt abandoned, emotionally abandoned, which was correct because I wasn't there emotionally because of the unresolved childhood trauma.
So
So she would
you were just replicating the relationship that you had with your parents.
exactly
Abandonment.
abandonment.
I
So
mean,
and I was doing
you
that
didn't, and
subconsciously.
again, just to emphasize, I'm sorry, John, just to emphasize this for the newcomer, all of this stuff is happening in our childhood before we have any way to explain it to ourselves. We're not
Correct.
there yet. It's just an emotional response, and like John said, we absorb it not just into our psyche, but it's actually in the physical elements of our brains and
Yes.
the
Yes.
the folds of the brain, the cortex, the limbic system, even in the brainstem. It's all just being formed by these experiences
Yes.
and our reactive experience.
Yep. Yes. The Jesuit says, "Give me a child before the age of 7, and I will give you a Christian adult." And they knew this. They knew that before 7 years age, whatever you told that child was what we call that destiny, was the predestined future of that child. Um, so that's what we're unlocking by making these bold statements. And some of these, the issue is never the issue. It's like, wait a minute, that guy just punched me in the nose. Well, the issue is never the issue. Yeah, no, that can be. But how did I posture? How did I get my nose close enough to him to hit me? It's like, come on, there's something going on there. And there was probably something that indicated before he punched me that I was in dangerous territory or I needed to back off. But I didn't listen to it. And then boom, I got punched, and I blame him for punching me.
So one of the I was just thinking about my own experience, and how do we illustrate this in concrete terms? Think
Yep.
about when I was in grade school. I always found myself kind of in the on the sidelines of the group, and
Yep.
I would say something, and people would kind of look at me and go, "Oh, okay," and so I felt disrespected. I wasn't
Hmm.
I wasn't respected. I had no clue that I wasn't respecting myself. I had no clue where the
Right.
origin of the disrespect was. I thought it was them. People treat me the way I
Yeah.
want them to. They're treating me with disrespect because there's a part of me that treats myself with disrespect and expects that because of the way it happened for me as a little kid, as a little
Yes.
boy.
Yes.
And the how the how this gets emotionally propagated is a good question, but it's there. And so somehow we give off a message just as if it works both ways. So if I feel safe and confident in the world, people will treat me with respect and admiration
Right.
because I'm
One
projecting that.
one of the things I did not do as a child, I was not exemplified, and if I did do it, I would be severely punished. Was speak my truth, be angry at either mom or dad for something I thought was unjust. Now, an example of this is with my grandson. Um, I picked him up one time, and I hadn't shaved for like in the morning, and I had a little scrub, and I nuzzled him on the cheek, and he squirmed, and I thought it was funny. I set him down. He took 2 steps, turned right around, poked his finger at me, and goes, "Don't do that again. That hurt." And I go, "Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah, it did hurt." And he walked off. He didn't get punished. He didn't say, "Who do you think you're talking to? You're disrespecting me." He got to feel his feelings, exert himself, and I still loved him. I didn't traumatize him, ostracize him, abandon him, or redefine his reality. Yeah, you're right. Now, for me to do that, I couldn't do that with my children. They'd say something like that to me, and I do exactly what I just said. Who do you think you're talking to? You can't talk to me that way. Don't you know who I am? All that stuff, and they would stuff their.
You might even have nuzzled them again.
I might even have nuzzled them again just to prove it's
Exactly.
okay. And yeah, okay. So I stuffed, you stuffed, my children stuffed that expression, and that expression got linked to I'm going to die or be ostracized. And this is all subconscious. So I grew up to be an adult. Instead of being assertive, I find myself aggressive or acquiescing or weak, not assertive, because assertive was um, well, it was a death sentence. This particular activating system is survival mechanism. From the child perspective, somebody told me, I was listening to somebody one time, and the child is like 2 foot and the adult is 6 foot. That's like you and I looking at a 35 foot saying, you can't, it's terrifying, terrifying. Okay, they got terrified, got it stuffed, complied, and it's in there unexpressed. And when I grow up as an adult, it comes out sideways. For me, it was rageaholic, workaholic, alcoholic, And I had no idea. I had no idea any of this was going on. And that's what you and I talk about, is to disclose this. I made a joke about it being, held in the secret temples and secret societies. This little secret. Well, yeah. Here's the secret: you were traumatized as an adult. That reality became the belief. I mean,
as a
as a
child,
child,
right?
that belief became that reality, because it was real. That was a reality. Became the belief as an adult, and you acted as if this was true. Now it's not true. Now I do have advocacy. I do have volition. I do have choice, and I'm not able to access it because of the trauma reproducing itself so that I survive. This is a survival thing. That reticular activating system survival mechanism has came in, I don't know, amoeba, repel at something toxic, move towards something, that's food. That survival mechanism has developed. I mean, how years you believe we've been here? It could be millions, and it's fine-tuned itself so that we've survived. Life has been in a line for that long. How this reticular activating system survival mechanism works. It works. And when you feed disinformation to a child, it takes it as truth and manifests it in real life as an adult. It's about survival. Okay. Part of the work you do with Wilber and this evolutionary process in this spiral, we're going to take that mechanism, that, what do you call it? Like instinctual thing. We've developed this frontal lobe. We're looking at our spirituality, and we're going to move beyond this. We're not going to get rid of it. We're going to incorporate it into who we are now. Only we're going to know about it so that it's not leading us. I think it was Jung who said, if you're not willing to look at your shadow, you will believe you're being led by destiny. Something that's a paraphrase of that statement. But you believe your life is fate. He said fate. Well, it's just my fate that nobody likes me and I can't get a job that pays well. No, something happened in your childhood where you didn't see the value of yourself. You go into adulthood expressing low value of self. Who's going to hire you? It's like, and this is not something people talk about. Like, it's not common knowledge. It is my intent that in our conversations, in the work we do, that this becomes common knowledge, that everybody understands that if they're in a discordant situation and they're not being proactive, there's something inside them that's tangled up hooked into the survival mechanism, instinctual part of us, that's keeping us stuck. Nothing else around us is doing that. It's ourselves. We're doing it. It's like that age old saying, the answer is inside you. That used to really piss me off. It's like I go to a therapist, I want help, this is the problem, and they go, oh, the answer is inside you. And my thought was, well, what the hell am I paying you money for if the answer is inside me? And I'd leave and I'd keep doing what I was doing until I got into 12 steps. Specifically, I started in AA, real quickly moved to adult children of alcoholics, and just knew that there was something in there that I wanted. I couldn't tell you what it was. I can, the best I can now, tell you what it was, but then I couldn't. I just knew I wanted it. So,
It's the principle that we're discussing here is that people treat me the way I want them to, and as you were sharing there, I was thinking about this is so related to our first principle. I'm always getting what I want.
yeah,
So because there's that word want, it's in both principles. I'm always getting what I want, and people treat me the way I want them to.
yep,
I was also thinking about the phenomenon, so that there's something in order for you to treat me the way I want you to treat me, there has to be some level of connectivity. There has to be I have to send a signal out and you have to receive that signal.
yep,
And this is almost entirely in the subconscious of both of us.
correct.
And I was thinking about how that's related. So if I'm if I am addicted to the energy of shame or whatever that comes from being disrespected, then I'm going to somehow signal to you to disrespect me, and you're going to experiment and figure out what's the best way to do that because there's lots of
Hmm.
ways to disrespect somebody. So you'll figure it out again without any conscious cogitating on your part. It'll just
Right.
happen below the conscious level, and you'll find a way to do that. It's
What?
related to the same energy that we have where I can walk into a room and find the most dysfunctional person and want to take that person home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Um,
That
one of
subconscious
the
thing between us, there's a
Mhm.
field of connectivity, and
Feeling
it's
tone
yeah,
frequency
yeah.
that is familiar and it hooks into, I forget who said it, that this chemistry, I love you connection, infatuation is nature's way of getting two people who are completely incompatible together. It's like, but it's this energy. Here's one of the secrets from the secret societies. We have the ability to pick up information from our emotional bodies that are exuded from other people's emotional bodies. There's actual a whole lot of communication going on. Now, for me as a dysfunctional family of origin, dysfunctional childhood trauma, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So,
And probably
um,
nobody in your family knew that.
no, nobody in my family knew that. So we had to come up with a reason, and it must be either I'm defective or you're mean on purpose. And those are the logical things. And one of those might make sense. I'm, there's something wrong with me, or there's something wrong with you. So then we get in an argument of where that is. We talk about that. And I remember saying, whenever I got into a relationship, the first argument I had with a woman, substantial argument, was the last argument I had with her when the door hit me in the ass. It's like nothing got resolved. It was that playing out of abandonment. And here's the strange thing about it. In the process of this discovery, I realized one day that in those arguments where spits come out of both your mouths, you did this to me, you did this to me, no, you did this, and you said it first. There were two people screaming, "I love you, I need you. I love you, I need you. Don't leave me." And it was like, oh my god, oh my god, and it's coming out in this adversarial, conflictual, who's right? You did that to me first. How could you treat me that way? All that's and it had nothing to do with that. Now that I know, when somebody says something to me that's well, somebody can say anything they want to me. It's validating. It validates who I am. If somebody says something discordant and I see it as discordant and become proactive, that's validating. Up until including "fuck you, John." That's the stupidest thing I ever heard. And one of my clients said that to me in a group. I asked him, "What do you hear me say?" He's like, "Fuck you. This is stupid stuff. It's like quit the psychobabble bullshit and just tell us." And when that happened, I went into I decompensated. I went into now if somebody says that to me, I go, yeah, I can see why this would be confusing and sounds like gobbledygook. I understand, and we'll do the best we can to kind of unravel it. But before I couldn't do that. See, I wasn't. I had still subconscious issues of inadequacy or whatever they might be. Not enough, not good enough. Who do I think I am being a facilitator? Who do you think you are? Oh, you think you're smarter than me? I don't know. I mean, if you've ever heard that, but I've either heard it verbally or intimated that, oh, you think you're all that. You think you're a hotshot. Well, actually, I can tell you right now, yes, I do. Yes, I am a hotshot. Yes, I do know. Not that I know everything, but I do know this, and I'm willing to share it with you.
A couple things, and we're coming to the end of our time here. Number one, that uh, what you were when you were saying that when there are two people yelling and spitting each other, they're yelling, "I love you, please don't leave me," reminded me of the saying from the Course in Miracles, every attack is a cry for love.
Yes. Yeah.
And then it reminded me of the exercise that you have, which we call love equals.
Yeah.
And maybe what we should do is in the next podcast, we explore this a little bit more through the lens of love equals, because I think what we learn in that exercise, the love equals exercise, and you'll have to wait till next week, kids, to find out what that is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what we learn in that is how it is that people treat me the way I want them to, and how
Yeah.
I can now organize it such that people treat me the way I consciously want, intentionally want you to treat me, rather than
Exactly.
this unintentional thing that ends up with people screaming and spitting at each other, because that's what love feels like from childhood trauma, from the
Yeah.
perspective of childhood trauma.
Yeah. And that's next week. You pulled one of those who shot JR things.
I
It's
know,
like you got to wait till next week or the
I
next season
know.
of
Well, if we
who
could
shot
explain
JR.
it in 1 minute, we probably
Yeah.
could, but it's worth some
Yeah. Yeah.
quality time, I think. So.
I agree. I agree.
So we're going to leave it there, folks, and come back next week, and John and I will go into greater detail of this whole love equals mystery. It's another one of those secrets, I think, John, that in the
Yep.
ancient mystical books, if I'm not
Yep.
mistaken,
Yep. The mystery schools, they're keeping it secret.
exactly. But it's going to be the secret will be spilled here free of charge.
There you go.
So, as I said at the top of our time together, we do the work of intentional living in group. And there are 4 groups that meet on a weekly basis, all of them on Zoom. And the information about the time and the Zoom addresses, the day and time will be at the end of the podcast. So please feel free to check those out. Come join us. You can come into a meeting and say nothing, and or you can come in, dive into the deep end, and whatever you
Yeah.
want to do. It's
Yeah.
totally voluntary how you participate. So thanks for this time, John. And
Mhm.
we've just scratched the surface of that principle. People treat me the way I want them to. Let's
Yeah.
let's talk about that more next week.
You got it.
All
Thank you,
right.
Marty.
Thank you.